It's another beautiful day to go out and do a mile per gallon test. And this time we're going to be testing the 2024 Hyundai Elantra N. So let's go check it out. I don't know how you can miss this coming down the road. This is Performance Blue. It was an option that cost a little extra money. It was only about $470. Now I do like the way that it looks, except for the fact that I don't think I could have this as my daily driver. I think it would be a fun car to have in the garage and take out on occasion, but as a daily driver, I don't think I would go with this color and this scheme. But the red and the blue do look very good together. This does have the 2.0 liter turbo engine, which has 276 horsepower. We also have the 6-speed manual in here, and it also has active exhaust. All right, let's take a look at the trunk here. Oh, there it is, right there. It isn't powered. Okay, let's look in here. Look at that. That is a decent amount of space. Watch the review to find out exactly how much space is in here, but you do have a rear stabilizer bar, or I don't know what you want to call that. Kind of like a roll cage bar, but not. It just stabilizes the rear end. This thing does handle amazingly around the corners. Take a quick look inside. You can see it does have a decent amount of room, and you also have leather and Alcantara throughout the back. And then in the front, there's your doors. You got Alcantara across there, and in the seats are pretty comfortable. This it seems a little bit narrow for me. If you're a little bit bigger than me, then you might be a little uncomfortable, but they are really good seats, something you probably would just get used to. All right, there is that 6-speed manual. This is going to be the first manual that we've had on the channel going through the mile per gallon test. So as I just stated, this is going to be the first manual I'm taking out on this mile per gallon test. Now, there's going to be some differences. It depends on how you drive. I may drive this manual different than you drive this manual, so numbers may not come out exactly the same. So just take that into consideration, that this is kind of a baseline, and depending on how you drive, it's going to be a little bit different. So we're going to go out, we're going to go to the gas station, get this filled up, and then I will run you down on the parameters of the test and give you a little more information about this car. So let's get going. All right, we're here at the gas station. Now, one thing that I did forget to mention earlier is the mile per gallon, what we're shooting for. So it's 21 in the city, 29 in the highway, and it's going to be 24 mile per gallon average. So 24 miles per gallon is what we're going to be shooting for. So let's get filled up. And there is no requirement for special gas on this one. So it's going to be just regular 87 octane. We're going to get started here, but you can see premium here in Illinois right now is $4.99 for 91, $4.24 for 89, and $3.59 for 87. Filled up right now. Okay, so far we've got 1.7 gallons. It's kind of busy right now. So getting to the weekend, people are getting their boats out and stuff. So got a lot going on around me right now. So 1.7 gallons so far. Let's get in, get this all tightened up here. We are full. All right, let's get this test started. Okay, so you can see down at the bottom that it reset it right here, but what we are going to do is we're going to go up here and since refueling. This is the one that we're going to follow, since refueling. So it's 0 miles, 0 mile per gallon, 0 hours. We just started, so that's what we're going to be looking at. All right, let's get headed to our first town. Okay, we're coming into our first town, and so far we have driven 4.2 miles and 32.5 miles per gallon. That's pretty awesome so far. But now we're going to go through this town. We are going to make a loop through this town. So we hit stop signs, stop lights, some traffic, that type of thing. Then we'll be back out onto the highway. At that point, I will update you guys on the parameters of this test. We left town. We're out on the highway now. You can see right now we're at 9 miles after making that loop through town, 32 mile per gallon. It was at 31 something just a minute ago, but I didn't have record going. So now we're on the highway. We're headed to our next town, and we've got quite a bit of highway driving to do. So I'm going to update you guys on the parameters of this test. And then when we get to that next town, I'll update you where we're at for the highway drive. This is the first manual we've had on this test. I did have a Supra a couple of weeks ago that was could have been on this test, but I just didn't have the time, and the weather wasn't the greatest at that moment. So what we're going to do is this is going to be our first manual in here on this test, and we're going to do anything different. Just remember that I'm driving the manual. We're not using the car transmission to do the gear shifting at the right times and everything. So my results may be a little bit different than what you get, but this is kind of a baseline. So we drive in normal mode. We don't set it for eco. We don't set it in sport mode, anything like that. It's just normal mode. So if you would just get in your car and drive, that's what we have it in. The other thing is we also drive 5 miles per hour over the speed limit, because that is the average that people drive. They drive 5 miles an hour over. They don't drive the speed limit. So on the highway, you're looking at 60 miles an hour on the highway. In town, we're just going to be somewhere between 35 and 50. And then on the interstate, we'll be driving 75. So hopefully that gives you a more realistic viewpoint of what these cars will do on a daily basis. We fill up the tank, we top it off before we start. Then we drive 100 miles, 50 miles in one direction, going through 2 cities, and then we make loops through both of those cities. After the second city, we get up on the interstate. The interstate drive is about 10 miles in one direction. We turn around and go 10 miles in the opposite direction to counteract any climate, the wind, that type of thing, and any terrain. And then we make our way back the 50 miles back to the original gas station, and we drive through those same 2 cities. We just do them in reverse order, so everything can be negated for weather and terrain. So once that is all done, then we will fill up with gas again, and then we will actually use a calculator to figure out what the exact mile per gallon is. The question is the EPA right with their estimation of 24 miles per gallon average, or is the car right? Does the car display the correct mile per gallon? I'm going to update you when we come into the next town, and then I will give you some more information about this car. We have entered town, and we're going to make a loop through this town. Right now we are at 30 miles driven and 33.7 miles per gallon. We were down a little closer to 33 a minute ago, but we had to sit in some traffic, and that kind of sat and idled there for a little while. But we're going to make a loop through this town, and then we're going to head up on the interstate, and at that point I will give you guys some more information about this car. Alright, we've made our loop through town. Now we're getting ready to get up on the interstate. So far we are at 35.9 miles. 31.6 miles per gallon, so we're still running about 6-7 miles per gallon above the EPA average. So we're going to get up here on town. So we are going to get up on the interstate right here. Once we get up to the top here, I will let you guys hear this engine, and we'll accelerate pretty quickly. Ready? This thing handles so well. Alright, here we go. Get up to 75. Alright, get locked in at 75. Okay, so right now, 36.8 miles, 31.1 miles per gallon. We're going to be up here on the interstate for about 10 miles, and then we'll turn around and head back and do everything in the reverse order. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of information about this car right now. All right, while we're up here on the interstate, let's talk a little bit about this car. So this, of course, is a 2024 Hyundai Elantra N. So this has a 2.0 liter 4-cylinder turbo engine getting 276 horsepower. Now, there is one that has a boost. I believe that's only on the automatic transmissions, but you do that, you get about 10 extra horsepower for, I think, about 5 seconds or so. But 0 to 60 on this is supposed to be under 5 seconds or around 5 seconds, somewhere in there. Make sure you guys watch the review that's up on the channel right now. You'll have all of that information in there, along with a lot more detailed stuff that's going on inside the car. They changed this completely. They redesigned the front, they redesigned the rear, they changed the suspension, they changed the way that it shifts, they changed the way that it handles. They changed a lot of things about this car. Now, I haven't driven one previously to this. This is my first Elantra N. I really enjoy driving it. It's really smooth. It's tight around the corners. The suspension is a little stiff for people who like a more comfortable ride, but it is basically a sports car. So it's supposed to be that way, and it makes it handle really well around those corners. This would be a fun car to take out on a track. The seats, like I said, felt a little narrow, but I'm actually getting used to them, kind of hugging me a little tighter. The car I had before this did not have seats like that, so they were a little looser, and it was an SUV. So this feels really good, actually. And Alcantara in the middle of the seats feels pretty good. I worry about Alcantara because sometimes it can scratch a little easy. I have scratched Alcantara before, which was not a good thing. Gas mileage, like I said, it's supposed to be 21 in the city, 29 on the highway, and 24 average. Right now, we're averaging 31 miles per gallon. We've driven through 2 cities and made 2 loops through those cities with traffic and stop signs and all that stuff. So, I think Hyundai seems to underrate what they can get with their miles per gallon. It seems to be kind of a thing that they do, which is great. I'd rather it be underrated than overrated, but sometimes if you underrate it too much, then that could cost you some sales. So they might want to tighten up just a little bit on that. Now, I don't believe that we're going to finish out at 31 miles per gallon. I think it's going to be less than that. I think we're probably going to be closer to the highway. That's usually the way it works out with the Hyundais. Now, pricing on this car, if this is something that you're interested, these start at $33,750, I think. Now, $33,700. This one, the only thing they added on to this one is this paint color that it was like an extra $470 for this performance blue. And with the destination fee on top of that, this one comes in at $35,320. To have you a really fun sports car with a stick shift. If you want a sunroof, you have to get the automatic. You can't get that. There's a few things the automatic gets that the stick shift doesn't, but if you want a stick, this thing is awesome. Having a great time in it. Interior looks great. Same screens that they have in all of the Hyundai Kia lineup right now. All the buttons and climate control buttons and all that stuff is just right there, easy to get to. Even has cruise control with lane centering. I mean, what more could you ask for? All right, that's just a little bit about this car. If you want to see more about this car, make sure you watch the review that I have up on the channel right now. All right, so the next thing I'm going to update you on is when we get to our turnaround point on this interstate. All right, I'll see you then. Okay, here's our exit off of the interstate. So far, we are going 49.9 miles, so almost right at 50 miles. Should be 50 miles by the time we get to the top of this ramp, and 30.6 miles per gallon. Okay, so usually we can come up here and there's not a lot of traffic. We can just come up swing back around and go right back down on the interstate. But we'll see how the traffic is today. Yep, not bad. We can go. Okay. All right, so yeah, we can go right back down right here. I'm gonna go back down. Get stuck behind the semi. Go right now, here we go. Can't really hear it. It's actually pretty quiet. Pretty amazing. And when you do have it in the sport setting, and I think maybe the rally setting that's on here, it does make some pop and crackling noise. It's just not in normal mode. So the active exhaust is actually pretty cool. Okay, so real quick, we have now gone 51.3 miles. So we made that halfway mark, and 30.2 miles per gallon. And we're going to be heading back to the same town we just left, and we're going to make a loop through that town and then head on back towards the gas station. All right, we're coming up on our exit off of the interstate right here, and right now 63.8 miles, 30.2 miles per gallon. So still doing great. It did go down some once we got on the interstate, but otherwise it's doing really well. So I will update you guys again after we make this loop back through this town and get back out on the highway. We are heading out of town now, and you can see this is where all that construction is going to be. So I'm going to get you guys this info now. So right as we are speaking. All right, we just got into the rough roads. Sorry, it might be a little loud, but we got 71.4 miles driven and 30.2 miles per gallon. So we're getting closer down to that 29. So it did creep down driving that loop through town. We're heading out on the highway now, and we're going to probably be in this construction just a little while and then head back to the gas station. But you know, it's construction. This is a test for real world. This is what happens in the real world. So I'll update you when we get back to the next town. Entering town now. We're going to make a loop through this town. So after our highway drive, we are at 92.7 miles, 31 miles per gallon. So we are 7 miles per gallon over what the EPA had rated as the average, and we are 2 miles per gallon above the highway speed. So let's, or above the highway mile per gallon. So let's get this loop through this town and head back to the gas station. I'll update you on the way back to the gas station, then we'll get some gas, get some calculations done, and figure out exactly where we're at. We made our loop through town and we are headed back to the gas station. So right now we're at 96.6 miles, 30.9 miles per gallon. So yeah, we're gonna be pretty well crushing that EPA estimate, but we'll have to get the calculations at the end to find out where we are exactly. So, all right, we're going to be doing that here in just a few minutes. I'll update you when we get to the gas station. We are at the gas station. So here's our final results. 100.2 miles, 31.2 miles per gallon. All right, let's get this thing filled up and let's do some calculations and see if this is right or not. All right, so we don't have any restrictions on gasoline on this one, so we're going to be putting 87 octane in. It's got a nice little spot for it right there. All right. Tank. 87. Put it in. We're gonna have music playing, so we're gonna have to edit all this out once that starts playing. All right, so we ended up with 3.138, $11.29. So that's the number we're gonna be going with, 3138. All right, get this tightened back up. Let's get in and do some calculations. So we have 100.2 miles, and we're going to divide that by how many gallons we put in. 3.138. 3.138 equals 31.9. 31.9. And we were averaging 31.2, I believe, on the car. It reset itself. So I'll have the numbers up on the screen so you guys can see that. But that is crazy amazing, but this is what Hyundai always underrates. You can achieve way over what the EPA says, and it's even better than what the car is stating. The 2024 Hyundai Elantra real world mile per gallon is 31.9 miles per gallon, or 32 miles per gallon. Way better than what the EPA states. If you haven't subscribed, go down and hit the subscribe button. After you do that, click on one of the videos that's up on the screen right now. One is a review of this Elantra N, so you can find out more information about it. The other one is something that YouTube thinks that you might enjoy. I think you're gonna like them both. So I will see you in that next video.